How have your day been? Welcome, everybody. To be sure that we all my days. Welcome, K-String. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We are live. Yep. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. How has your day been? Please tell us where you are joining us from. Tell us where are you connecting with us today from. How has your day been? How has your day been? Tell us where you are joining us from. Welcome. Welcome to the Mentors Show. It's going to be a great one again tonight. Like every of our shows. Thank you, K-String, all the way from Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria. K-Strings, you know how they say it in my place. How they say it in the West, that the cane that we used to beat, for those who are from polygamous background will understand this, the cane that we used to beat the first wife is kept in the attic for the second wife. Or maybe more appropriately, another thing they say in my place is that it's going to touch you before it touches you. So what that means is that K-String, very soon you are going to be on the hot seat. Like we have tonight, Sonny P on the hot seat. So just get ready. Just get ready. It's going to fall on you also. Cindy, how are you today? How was Port Harcourt? Or like they used to call it in that time, Port Harcourt. How is Port Harcourt? How is Port Harcourt? We are still waiting for our guests to come on in tonight. Cindy, I thought you were in Port Harcourt. Where in Delta? Asaba or where? I've always thought that you are in Port Harcourt, you know. we're waiting for. You know, the interesting thing is that our guests tonight, like people like K String, they are very, very, very busy people. Very, very busy people. That was how it was when we had on the show um, um, Dr. Joel Wilson. They're very busy people. They are very busy people. That was it also when we had um, Rotimi Keys. They are very busy people. When they have small window, so we'll just wait for our guests. You know, he's a very busy person. Always, they're always cooking something. Always, creatives are very busy people, isn't it? And that was why I mentioned that day. I said, creatives are very busy people, because even when they are sitting down, you think they are actually sitting down doing nothing, but their head, they are cooking something, permutating, adding things together in their head, even when they are sitting down. You think they're just sitting down freely like that. They are already creating different kind of things. So it's going to be a great one tonight. We'll wait for our guests tonight, and our guest has come. Yeah, so good evening, our guests. So maybe we'll do like we did last week. Last week, we'll first do our drum roll before we get into that is the popular hey. So drum roll. I hope you can hear me clearly. This thing is not loud enough. Our drum roll is not loud enough for our guests. We are having a drum roll for our guests. Welcome, 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 welcome. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, this is very loud and clear, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Wow.
Yes, sir.
So before we go to that, let me have my intro.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Hello, welcome. I'm Dr. Olushola Ajide, your host on the Mentor Show, where we inspire you, help you reinvent yourself, and make a positive impact in your community, in your country, and on your continent. We mentor people across Africa. We bring you guests with inspiring life stories who are themselves transformation agents, making a positive change in their profession and nations. Subscribe to the African Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to the Mentor Show. I'm your host, Dr. Olushola Ajire, and like you know, on this show, we inspire you. On this show, we help you reinvent yourself. We help you become a new person, a new version of yourself. And we help you to make positive impact in your community, in your country, and on your continent. And we bring you wonderful people, wonderful guests who have just exactly doing that in their own sphere of influence. And one of them is we have on the show today. In fact, today I was looking at one of the new things he cooked. He's always cooking something. And I was wondering, I was looking at what he cooked and I said, well, these are always, like before you came online, I said that creatives are very busy people. That even when you see them sitting down, they are not actually sitting down. They are cooking something. The head is calculating and they are permutating, adding things, adding this to that, and it's wonderful. And wonderful to have on the show tonight, Mr. Sonny P. In fact, I'm excited because this episode of him coming on the show is what we've been planning since November. Can you imagine? He's a very busy person from one to that, and finally tonight we are privileged to have him on the Mentor Show. So welcome, sir, to the Mentor Show. Mr. Sonny P, our guest tonight, is an international producer, is the CEO of Global Music Empire, who has, with many years of experience, produced great music that is blessing people across the world. Songs like Ekweme, songs like God of Wonder, songs for Elijah Oyelade, songs like Judy K, songs by Judy K, Toby Osho, it's just Solomon Lange, Nakane, different kind of songs he has produced because of the grace of God. And even Emma, I like Emma's song, I like it, wonderful. They use me play. Wonderful song that our guest tonight has produced. And it's a privilege for us tonight to have on the Mentor Show, Mr. Sonny P. Welcome, sir, to the Mentor Show.
Thank you so much for having me, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
I'm glad to be here, sir.
Welcome. Let's go for it. Who is Mr. Sonny P?
All right. Thank you, Doctor, for having me here this evening. It's actually a privilege to be part of this show. I'm so grateful for this privilege, sir. Thank you. I'm grateful. All right. My name is Sonny P. I'm a Nigerian. I'm a lover of God. I'm a music producer, and basically that's all that there is to me. Nothing more. I'm a child of God, and I love the Lord.
The question somebody will ask is that the day you were born, was it your dad said your name is Sonny P, or is it a music is a name you choose?
Okay. Actually, my name, the name I was given is Sonny Praise Adejo.
Okay.
That's my full name, Sonny Praise Adejo. Okay, so when I started the music thing, that this praise looks somehow long, so I was just looking for a name that would be a brand for me. So that was why I went for Sonny P. Interesting.
And perhaps, like we already know that the names we bear are very prophetic, isn't it? Yes, the names that our parents, if our parents have a sense of God, our names are very prophetic. And when they named you praise, they didn't know what they were calling for. They didn't know what they were doing. But today we thank God that has been a great. But you said, oh, you are a lover of God, and I'm asking, okay, lover of God from where? Lover of God from your mother's womb, or when did you become a lover of God?
I've always loved the Lord. Even as a child, right? Even as a child, I've always loved God, loved things that has to do with God. Not just because I was born into a Christian home. Of course, I was born into a Christian home, but right from when I was a child, I just love the things of God. I love anything that has God in it. Just gives me joy. So from there, when I grew up and I understood what it really means to love God, I find myself developing that love every day for Him, every day for Him.
Interesting. Now, as a person that became a lover of God and you develop love, now at what point did you also come into this aspect of music? How did music come? At what point did you meet music, or music met you, like some would say?
I think music found me, actually.
Okay.
Music found me. It all started when I was in GS2, in the secondary school. I used to have friends who play music instruments. And my school, we had a music, store now, like a music store where they have instruments kept. And what we really had then was drums. So some of my classmates in school then they play drums. So there's this pleasure I find when I see them playing. I just loved music. I just love the way they play music. I love the way they do the music thing. And so in just 3, that was the first time I ever learned the music instruments. Then I was about 14 or 15 years. So I learned the first musical instruments. I started learning drums, started learning drums, and like that. And before you knew it, I started learning the keyboard too. But I didn't do it deeply because I was still in school. My parents wanted me to just do the school thing until I was done with secondary school. That was when I officially started learning music. I attended an official music school and all that, and that's how the journey started.
Interesting. Now, I like you were talking about GS3. I remember too in my own case, that was when we were doing music, and as we were talking, I could remember our music studio then in my boarding house, and the small organ that you play with that thing and everything. But I think maybe because I was not really a trance, but you see, you cannot just pin me down in one place, and one could not just pay attention. So perhaps because of your interests and the praise, maybe to be able to pay attention to that. So and I think that is good. So ladies and gentlemen, so tonight what our guest is already unpacking for us is that, is there any area of your life of something you like, and it will take you to pay attention to it. It will take you to pay attention to it, and it will cost you time. Oftentimes we think that you can just get pluck something off the air, and so it will take you time, and you can become anything you desire to become if you remove from yourself every limiting belief. If you remove all those things that is hindering you, because oftentimes in our lives there are some belief systems, some things you have believed about yourself that is restricting you, hindering you from becoming a better version of yourself, to become somebody new, somebody fresh, that will be able to achieve and attain what you want in your life. Now let's go deeper. Tell us, at the age of 9, who were your heroes? What were your aspirations? What do you want to become at the age of 9?
At the age of 9, can I remember? 9, I was still in secondary school. I didn't really have any drive. At the age of 9, I didn't really have any drive. I was just a normal kid who loves to play football.
Okay.
But I didn't see myself becoming a footballer anyway. But I just love to play football. I was a normal street kid, who didn't have, is it vision now? Not really vision. Who didn't even know what the future holds. I didn't grow up from in a rich family, in a wealthy family. Let's put it that way. So I grew up in the normal hustling. Permit me to use the word, the normal hustling family where even your parents don't even know what tomorrow holds for you. So I didn't grow up having vision of, in the nearest future, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be this. But when I became 10, 11, 12, 13, from that age, I started knowing, okay, if I grow up, I want to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I wanted to be a lawyer from 13. I wanted to be a lawyer, and my dad actually influenced that, because he would always say, you argue so much, you argue too much. You don't just, if you see black, you want to find a way to make it white and all that. So he said, Kai, you'll be a very good lawyer, and that influenced my decision to actually want to be a lawyer.
Interesting. And today you are lawyering music.
I'm lawyering music, actually.
You are lawyering music and not the people. Wow, great.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, and I think tonight if you had any particular dream, which when you were age 9 or age 10, whatever those dreams were, that it was not because somebody told you about it, but it's what you think that, I think I'm called to do this. Now, irrespective of the fact of where, whatever you are doing now, it might be different from that thing you had at that point in time. Your dreams are valid. If only you can pay the price, you can become anything you want to become. I've seen people who are at the age of 89 decided they wanted to become world champion in athletics, and they became it. And they became it because there's different kind of athletics. There's athletics among the young people of 25. There's athletics of people of 40. There's athletics of 50 people. There's world championships of those who are grannies, those who are 80 and 90, that all of them are just that same age. And those people's dreams still came to pass. There are even people that said they want to become graduates, and at the age of 60, a woman just became a BSc holder because of the drive that I must achieve that which I dream. So your dreams are, whatever the dreams are, your dreams are valid, and only that it will take you, you pay the price to be able to achieve and attain that particular experience. Okay, good. Now, you are, like I mentioned earlier, you are a creative person. And take us through, how does Sonny P think?
How do I think?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'll try to answer that, because sometimes too, I don't know how I think sometimes, but basically I like to think outside the box. I like to think towards things that people say is not possible. I like to think towards things that people say, no, this is the norm. Okay, I think this is the best way to put it. I like to think beyond the norm. Beyond the norm. Before I take decisions, before I do things, I like to think, okay, what are the possibilities? What are the impossibilities? Now, when I see the impossibilities, I like to dare things. I think that's the best way. I like to dare things that people feel, no, it's not a go area. Don't go there. That's impossible. So I noticed, not even just now, it's something I've done before the Sonny P whole thing came about. I could remember as a young boy trying to learn music. They said it wasn't possible for you to learn multiple instruments at the same time. So when I attended the first music school I attended, when I got there, they said, no, you have to, in the form, you have to feel one instrument that you must learn per time. When you have learned it over maybe 1 year, you can now switch to another instrument. You can't learn multiple instruments per time. And I told them, I said, okay, can I learn 2 instruments? At least if I can't learn plenty, can I learn 2 major? They said, no. The director then said, no, you are entitled to learn 1 instrument per time. So I told them, I said, okay, no problem. So I enrolled for drums. While I enrolled for the drums, I started learning keyboard alongside with the drum. I started learning bass alongside. I didn't spend up to 4 months in the music school. In music school, I was supposed to be a student for a year, for 1 instrument, then move to another instrument and spend another 1 year. Within 4 months, I started teaching in the same music school. Because I just felt, how it's not impossible for you to learn plenty instruments at the same time. It's not impossible. They say, no. We have tried it. Students don't concentrate. When they start learning the keyboard, you will not concentrate on the drums. When you start learning the drums, you won't concentrate on the keyboard and all that. So I told them, I said, at least I can prove them wrong. And after 4 months, I became a teacher in the same school. So I started teaching my mates. I started teaching the new intakes. Before you knew it, I graduated from just being a student to be a teacher in the music school. Within the space of 6 months, I was already a teacher, a certified teacher in the music school. So I discovered that I like to dare things people feel is not possible. Even in my music production, most of the time when I produce songs, when I produce music, I like to just think, what is the norm? Once I know the norm, I want to just go outside the norm. You get? So that's how I think. I always like thinking beyond the norm. Before, the logo for my studio was taking music beyond the norm. That was the motto for Global Music Empire before. Not now that I'm doing interpreting the mind of God. Over time, I started, God started giving me better inspirations and all that. But when I started Global Music Empire, the motto for Global Music Empire was taking music beyond the norm.
Interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think for those who are on call or watching a replay of this session, you look at yourself personally now, because the scripture, the Holy Scripture says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And oftentimes you cannot become a better version of yourself. You cannot become a better version of yourself if you don't know how you think, your worldview.
Yes,
your thinking pattern is your worldview. And you've had our guest tonight, his own thinking and what is the norm? How can I go against the norm? I'm an outlier. I need to do something different from what has been done before. And that suggests a growth mindset. That suggests a growth and not a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset will say, well, this is how it has always been done. And there's no other way we can do it. Let's just do it that way and continue. But he's thinking, no. Let's think of how can we do it different from what has been accepted before. So tonight, if you are a guest on this show, please reflect on yourself and see how you can take that kind of idea to go to the next level. That by the 6 months' time, you reflect. Sorry, we are mid-year now. By the end of the year, you'll be able to reflect and look at yourself and say, okay, how has this new idea of let me do something different, let me go, another way of saying this is let me go outside my comfort zone. I'm comfortable doing X, Y, Z, I'm comfortable doing this, but let me do something different from what I'm comfortable at. Let me do something different, because in fact, you can do that if you give yourself to it, if you believe you can, and if you begin to pay the price and look for someone, like our guest told us, is telling us tonight, if you begin to get someone to teach you, and so that you can learn the ropes, the basics, the rudiments, and you'll be able to go into that. And I think that is quite very interesting. So now, and I think I like this part of you using the word Global Music Empire. What was the reason for naming Global Music Empire? Because that sounds vision. We could see vision in that. We could see purpose in that. What was the reason for that? And how did you get that name?
All right. It was in 2006. 2006. I was working in one studio, and I came to Abuja, 2003. I started working with a studio in Abuja, and 2006 I had to leave because there was a need for me to leave at that time. And I wanted to start the studio, and I didn't know what to call the studio. So I prayed, waited on the Lord for some days, and I was asking God, because I grew up to know that what you name 18 is what it eventually becomes. I grew up knowing
what you name
18
is what it eventually becomes.
Yes. Okay, let me explain something to you. My tribal name is Aduojo, meaning servant of God. That Adejo in my name means servant of God.
Okay.
So when I see myself being the church in my family, I think I was one of the most churchy person. And when I see myself doing those things, my mom will always tell me, "You are a pastor. We already ordained you from birth."
Don't join them. Don't join them.
She said, you are a church person. We already ordained you by your name. We have already ordained you from birth. So when I do all those churchy things, I just find myself, I can't help it but be churchy. So when it was time to birth the studio, I asked God, I said, what will I name the studio? I didn't just want to give it any name. So I prayed. It was I and my elder brother. So one evening we were just sitting. After praying, God didn't speak. I was expecting the heaven to open and God would just say, okay, this is the name of your studio, my son. God didn't speak. And we're having a discussion one evening, and he just said, why not name this studio Global Music Studio? And I was like, wow, that's it. It was like, because if I show you where I started the studio, sir, calling it Global Music Studio is what would it call? It's an embarrassment to the place.
To the name.
It's an embarrassment to the name. Like, how can you call? I started in a place that I was squatting with somebody, and I started studio in the person's house. And the place, if you come there, if I give you water, you won't drink. So starting a studio in that kind of place and naming it Global Music Studio, it didn't match. It didn't match. But I knew where God was taking me to. Somewhere in my heart, I just knew that, no, this can't be a local studio. And that's what my elder brother said to me, that they said, look, your studio is not a local studio. So we must think future and name it what we want it to become in the future. So I said, yes, this is the name. And we prayed over it and we said, can we run with this vision? He said, yes. I said, yes, let's pray. And we prayed. And we named it Global Music Studio. It was Global Music Studio before, until some years ago, I think about 5 years ago, I changed it to Global Music Empire. Because I now discovered it was just beyond the studio. The visions I have, or the vision God gives me every time, is beyond just running a studio where you produce music. I am seeing an empire where we do everything that has to do with music, marketing, promotion, everything encompassing that has to do with music generally. So we decided to change the name from Global Music Studio to Global Music Empire. I think 6 years ago precisely.
Wow, interesting. So for all our guests on the call tonight, the key point here, the story, the learning point from what our guest is saying is, what do you call yourself? Whatever you call yourself is what you will become. If you call yourself to say, I can do it, it means you can do it. And like a popular quote they normally say, they said, if you think you can, you are right. And if you think you cannot, you are also right. So whichever way you think, you are right.
You are right.
So you are not wrong. You are right. So you are right. But and that is the reason why you need to call yourself to say, I can, because you are going to become it. Because like our bride is telling us today, our guest today is telling us today, what he saw then, from 2026, between then and now, God has brought into reality. And like we said in the intro, some of the music that we produce, you will see that those music has actually gone global. Those music are being used all over the world to worship the Lord. And very soon, those music will be translated into other languages and will be used to be able to bring glory and honor unto God. Wow, interesting. So how will we are talking about sparking creativity. How will you define creativity?
Okay. Creativity, in the most simplest way I can define it, is bringing what is not in existence into existence. Creating what is not in existence into existence. A creative person is somebody who thinks, I want a remote, but how do I create it? You must first think it as a creative, you must first think it in your mind before you talk about the physical manifestation. If you can't think it in your heart, you can't have it manifested in your hands. So creativity is the ability to bring something that is not in existence into existence through careful thought and careful, what's it called now? What's the right English to use now? Through careful thoughts. Because most times we think things, but we don't know how to bring them into reality. A lot of we think a lot of things. I wish I can just do this. You don't know how to bring them into reality. So creativity is just that ability to think it and make it manifest.
Wow, interesting. And I like the way what you mentioned about it. Creativity starts in the mind, in the imagination, in the spirit. It's not physical. And I was listening to my father in the Lord, Pastor Iya Deboye, who was talking about giving an example of if you ask someone when they are building a house, if you ask someone when was the beginning of this house, see, someone will tell you, oh, it was the day the owner of the house opened it. Someone will tell you, no, it was the day the owner of the house conceived it in his mind. He said, someone will tell you, no, it was the day that the parents of the owner of the house conceived the owner. So the beginning did not start when the owner of the house even conceived it. Because if the parent did not conceive him, he will not be there he will not be thinking of conceiving, of thinking of building a house. So the point what we're saying here tonight is that whatever you want to achieve is first framed and created in your thoughts. Whatever you want to achieve is first created and formed in your thoughts. And based on that, like you are trying to tell us, before it becomes physical manifestation, it means you must now begin to think of how. And I think that is one of the questions people don't ask at all. When you see somebody doing something great, somebody might say, oh, he's a billionaire. Good. Oh, he stole the money. And don't always be on the negative side. Don't always point negative answers to people. It's always to ask, is a billionaire? Okay, yes, I can also be a billionaire. How can I also be a billionaire? When you ask yourself how, then thoughts of strategies of what to do to get to that point would also begin to come to you, because you are now asking God, how can I also achieve what that person has achieved? And I think that is very, very important, because if you think of, for example, even the Mentors show, for many years, how many years now? Far back than 2009, or even way, way far back, I always dreamed of having a television house, a TV house, having a TV, a media house. And I think, oh, a media house, oh, blah, 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 oh, good. But since then and now, nothing happened. Even a radio station, not only just TV, a radio station, a TV house, and all the media as it was. But as I mentor people across Africa, and I was thinking, okay, let me go to 2000. I planned, okay, let me start by going to Botswana, run a conference for the young people in Botswana, some of my mentees over there. Then COVID happened. Then as COVID happened, the question was now, so how would I now go and do the conference I want to start this year? How? I was just having my shower that morning, and the thought came and just said, start by starting an Instagram show. You start the Instagram show, you're already talking to those people, and when you go to that country, they will now be the one to welcome you. Just start. So, and that confirms what you are saying, that whatever you want to do starts with a thought. The next question will now be, how can I achieve it? And you, like you know, I'm broadcasting this to YouTube. That's already a TV house itself. And on YouTube, we have more than, it should be getting close to, if I'm correct, more than 100 videos of this interview, right from, and our first, can you guess our first guest on the Mentor Show? Our first guest on the Mentor Show, Frank Edwards. He was the one that opened the show, the first episode, the first episode in 2000, May 14th, 2000. What am I saying? Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this show tonight, your dreams are valid. It's already in your thoughts. Think of strategies to bring it down to reality. Think of how, and think of how you can schedule something and begin to find a way of expressing and bringing that thing to reality. Now, of course, would it be easy? Of course not. Of course not. It will not be easy. But if you are dogged and you are resistant and you say, this thing must become a reality, it will become a reality if only you pay attention to that. I think I've spoken too much. Now let's go again. Now for you as a person, what are the my research, I'm always passionate about corporate social responsibility. I'm always passionate about community engagement. What are the corporate social responsibility you are in, so the global music empire is involved in?
Okay. One of the things we do, time to time, we reach out to people.
Okay.
There are times before now, until I started building last year, there are people, I pick people just randomly from Facebook. There are people I've paid their school fees through school. There are people we support. There was it 2 years ago? I met somebody on Facebook who was down and needed, I think she needed some drugs, some medications weekly, and it was going to cost about some huge amount of money. And we took it as a responsibility and said, look, we're going to pay through this medication for you and all that. Then apart from that, there's a program I run time to time to support young music ministers. I do that a lot. Like I do that sometimes 4 times in a year. We just open up the studio, bringing young music ministers who cannot afford the regular studio sessions. We've been doing that. I think I've done like twice this year already. And it's something we've been doing. Like some months ago, we did the Global Talent Show, which we brought in about 30. Was it 30 now? Yeah, 30 contestants, and we had 3 lucky winners. We are shooting videos for them. We're doing promotions for free for them and all that. Most of the time, my social responsibility is actually towards the young music ministers. Okay. I have a passion and love for young music ministers. That's where my passion actually is. I have serious passion and love for young music ministers. So most of my programs, most of my responsibilities and everything goes towards that direction.
Interesting. So it's quite very interesting. Now let's look at this point. Have you ever faced challenges before, and how did you overcome it?
The truth is, challenges are part of life.
Okay.
Until we understand that we face challenges every day. We face challenges every day. But one of the things I'm going to share an experience with you. This happened last year. The studio was in a location in Abuja called Kubwa. And one morning I came to the studio in the morning, I resumed work, and I was served a letter from the landlord. Gave me 2 months to quit the studio. that he needed his property. He wanted to use it for something. That became a major challenge for me, right? Became a major challenge because it's not like I was owing you rent. My rent was meant to be due in July, and you're serving me later in February, and you're giving me 2 months. By April, I'm supposed to be out of the space. And I asked myself, because then I just moved to my house. I just finished building the house. I just moved, so it's not like, oh, I have some money piled up somewhere, so it's fine. I can just move. I can let him. I'll just move. And so I asked God. One of the things I do when I face challenges like that, I go back to God. Before I even start thinking of solution, the first thing I do is I go back to God. Okay, God, why is this happening at this time? My rent is not even due, and now they are giving me quick notice. I just finished building the house. I've not even settled in the house. We just moved into the house. We've not settled in, and this is coming at this time. And I prayed and I asked God. I said, what do I do? A lot of people, a lot of friends advised, okay, why not rent another place and just move the studio to another place? Then I asked myself, would I want to continue paying rent? Because even if you move to another place, tomorrow the landlord will still come, might still come and tell you, I need my property, and you can't do anything. So I told God, I said, God, what do I do? And I had the leading to start building. So the first question I asked myself is, now I want to build a studio. How do I build a studio? What is the cost for building a studio? I called my architect. My younger brother is an architect. I called him. I said, okay, look, I want to build a studio. I have a land already. How do I build? And he's like, okay, if you need, okay, depends on what you want to build. I gave him the idea, what I had in mind, and he gave me the costs, and it was like about 14 million naira.
Wow.
I didn't have the money. I had 2 months to move. So I told myself, I sat down, analyzed the situation properly. Because most of the time we are always in a hurry to want to face situations without actually sitting down and analyzing the situation itself.
Yeah.
So I asked myself, I said, okay, if I want to build a studio and I need 14 million, I don't have the physical cash. What I had in my account was not, I don't think it was up to 300,000.
Wow.
So I said, okay, what can I do? So I told my younger brother, I said, okay, how much do I need to start? He said, okay, if you have like 4 million or 5 million, we can start with. At least we should be able to have something reasonable. So I said, okay, fine. What do we need to do? How do I raise money? That was the next thing that came to mind. And I sat down. I told myself, I had a car. I had my own car. My wife had her car too. And I said, okay, if I want to move, I have 2 months. Is there a possibility of building within 2 months and moving? The architect said, it's very possible. If you have money, we can build in 1 month and you are out of this place. So I said, okay. So I had to sit down, told myself, the reality on ground now is I have to move. Right? It was a major challenge. It was one of the major challenges I have faced in my life as a person. It was one of the major challenges because you know what it's going to look like to leave the place you have been for 7 years, to start up, to move to a new location and all that. But we took the bull by the horn. I had to sell my cars, told my wife. In fact, the day I sold my wife's car, she didn't know I was going to sell the car. I just drove out in the evening. I told her, I said, can I use your car? She said, why not? Sure. So I said, okay, I'm coming. I want to rush to Guaripa. I already made an agreement with the car dealer that was coming to buy the car. Took the car to him. He saw the car, and he said, okay, we negotiated the money, and he paid me. I took Uber back home, and when I entered the house, she was like,
where's the car?
Hey babe, where's my car? I said, calm down, let me explain something to you. I have a project and I need money. She was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I knew she is the kind of person who keys into visions. She keys into visions. When I have a vision and I tell my wife, this is what we need to do, she just tells me, yes sir. Oh yeah, what do I need to do? And we it wasn't funny, right? It wasn't funny, but I knew in my spirit that it was time to move, not to another rented apartment. So we started. Within 3 weeks, we roofed the studio. How God did it, I don't know. How God did it, I don't know. Before I knew it, somebody called me, sent me some money. Somebody called me from the US that she needed to do some jobs. And although she's not ready for the job, but she can just send me some money, the money for the job. It's not like I didn't discuss anything with her.
Wow.
She just called me from US and said, man of God, how are you doing? I said, I'm fine. She said, I need to produce some songs. So there's this album I need to do. I need to do it. And it's so pressing in my spirit. I said, okay. I'm trying to I'm trying to move from where I am to a new place. She said, no, I'm not in a hurry. But I can just send you the money. I'm not in a hurry. I could just send you the money when you are ready. Then I thought she was joking. The next day I received an alert of over ₦1 million. So I now discovered that, look, when you are faced with challenges, the first thing you must do is to go back to God. He knows the end from the beginning. God knows the end from the beginning. Now he has the master plan. When I prayed and I told God, I said, God, I don't want to rent another place. Somebody even offered to pay for a space for me in Wuse, about 3 million. The person said, Sonny P, go and get a space in Wuse. I went, saw the space, they said 1.5 million for a year. And I'm like, why should I go and pay that amount of money when I can actually put the money? And I told him, I said, 2 years is about 3 million. He said, go, I'll pay for it. And I said, no, can you, if you really want to support me, can you give me this 3 million? Let me put back into this building. He said, no. Like he wants to pay for the place I will rent. And eventually he didn't give the 3 million.
That's a temptation to know if you are serious.
And he didn't give me the 3 million. Before you knew it, within 2 months we built the studio and I moved. In fact, the time the landlord gave me didn't expire before I moved. So when I'm faced with challenges, the most important thing I do is to go back to God and ask him, okay, see where I am. What do I need to do at this point? Should I go or wait? You understand? And if I have that nudge in my spirit to go, I don't care how it looks like, I just move. You get? So anytime I face challenges, that's what I always do. It happened, I don't know if you have the time.
Go ahead. We're here.
It happened in 2011 when I got married. I got married, a young guy, doing well. I used to do secular music those days until I had the leading to stop producing secular music. So I was doing strictly gospel. Then I had challenges. The house we were staying, I was living in a 2-bedroom flat. They gave us quick notice to move. I just got married. My wife was just pregnant with my first son. And they gave us quick notice to move. I didn't have money to pay, actually. It's not they gave us quick notice. I couldn't renew the rent. So the landlord asked us to leave the place. So I told my wife, I said, what do we do? I don't want to pay rent again. And she's like, I don't understand. You
don't have money.
Afford to pay 207. You don't afford to pay 270,000. And you are saying you don't want to pay rent again.
Are you okay?
Are you normal? And I'm like that. And I'm like that. I could just wake up and once I pray about something and I have the leading to do it, sir, it doesn't matter how it looks. So I told her, I said, I don't want to pay rent again. And she said, bros, are you normal? This is not a normal way of thinking.
Should we go to a doctor?
270,000 you can't pay. And now you are saying you don't want to pay rent again. How are you going to do this? And I said, look, don't worry. What we need to do now is you need to go back to your father's house. I'll sort out myself. And she said, okay. She called her dad and said, okay, look, we are facing house. We have issues with the house. I'll need to come back for some time. The father said, no problem. And I told myself, I said, look, the next time she's going to come back home, we're going to be in our house. It sounded very stupid. But I had the conviction because I had told God that I won't pay rent again. So, before you knew it, I think she was 3 months pregnant. Before she gave birth, at least I have built a small house somewhere. How it's happening, I don't know. That's why you see me, I'm somebody who believes God for practically everything. Everything. I believe God for practically everything. So long as I've told him, I know he will do it. He might not do it right now, but I'm very sure God will do it. So most times in my life, when I get when I hit the rock, I just go back to God and I say, God, this is it. I'm at that point I can't help myself anymore. What do I do next? And once I have believing to do, I just do as my spirit says. Sometimes it might not make sense. When I was moving here last year, when I told my boys, I had a couple of boys that worked with me, I think about 4 of them. 3 of them said, it's not possible. And they walked away. Only 1 of them stayed. And he's still with me today. 3 of them said, sir, it's not possible. You have 2 months, sir. It's not. I said it's possible. I will build. If you are not with me, just go. If you know your faith cannot carry this journey you want to start, just go. And 3 of them walked away. The one of them that stayed now has his own studio. We were able to set up his own studio for him. He works there. Anything he makes from the studio is his personal money. You understand? So, see, I can't overemphasize this. We must learn to trust God at each time. When you hit the rock, go back to the master planner. He knows the end from the beginning.
Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the key point that our guest has told us tonight is that when we face challenges, he says challenges are part of life. And like one of our previous guests, or no, not our previous guest, I think it's Tony Robbins, that says challenges or problems are a sign that you are a living being, that you are alive. That's a sign that you are alive. And our guest is telling us that whatever the challenges that happen, the first thing you do is to think of God and go back to him and see and ask him questions, and he was going to give you the blueprint of how you are going to sort it out. Now, I so much like the second example you gave, but I want you to give for not to confuse people, because some other persons could also find themselves in some very precarious situation, and they want to apply because they've heard you say this, and they want to apply that kind of faith, and it put them into danger or put them in harm's way. Now, when she went back to her father's house, how did God do it?
Okay, let me explain that. When she went back to her father's house. I had a discussion with the father, and I told him, this is where we find ourselves. And he said, come, I have space in my house. Come and live with us. And I said, no, I can't come and live with my in-laws. No, it won't work. You know, I went back to the studio. I started gathering money. Every money that comes in, I keep.
Okay.
And one of the days, me and my wife, I called my wife. I said, can we go and look for a land? So she said, oh, fine, come. She said she was coming to Cuba. Her parents were in Buhari. I was in Cuba. It's like about 20-something kilometers apart. And she came. And while we were talking that afternoon, I could remember vividly that afternoon, while we were still saying, okay, so where do we even go to look for land? She now said, there is this family that we met that in one of the houses, one of the one bedroom we stayed in Biagin, that the woman likes my wife. Then we're not married, we're still courting. So anytime my wife comes, the woman just likes her. And she was like, my husband has some lands for sale. In case anytime you are interested, you're looking for land, let us know. So she reminded me and said, that woman, she said her husband has land, let's go and check. Let's go and ask. So we went. That day, the whole money I had, if I say it, you will laugh, doctor.
Say it now.
The whole money I had was 8,000 naira.
Okay, good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8,000. 8,000. And I'm like, anyway, let's go. So we went. We met the wife. The husband was not around. So we said, we're looking for land. And she's like, oh, okay, my husband has one land somewhere, and there's another one close by here. Would you want to go and check it? We went, we checked it. And I asked him, I said, how much is the land? And she said, it's 540,000.
Okay. And you have 8. So you remaining 500. Remaining
500. 32,000.
You had 8. So at least you are 8,000 down.
Now, so me and my wife, we looked at ourselves and we laughed. And she's like, "Why are you people laughing?" I said, "We like this particular land." She said, "Okay, fine. Let my husband come." So the husband came and we talked with him. He said, "You like the land?" I said, "Yes." He said, "So how much do you have?" I said, "Actually, sir, we don't have anything." He said, "How can you be interested in a land that you don't have anything?" Okay, you know what we'll do? Bring the 40,000 on top of it. Let me be sure that you are really interested in the land.
Okay, so he has reduced your problem at least from 540, 5 whatever, to 32,000.
So I said, "Okay, so if I give you 40,000 now, you will keep the land for me." He said, "Yes." So I said, "Okay, sir." So me and my wife went out, started thinking, who do we call? So I called my younger sister. Then my younger sister was still in school, student. But I just said, let me just call my sister. So I called her. I said, "Babe, how far?" She said, "I'm fine, sir." I said, "How are you? Where are you?" She said, "I'm in Bauchi." I said, "See, I need money right now." She said, "How much?" I said, "I need like 40K. She now said, "When will you pay me?" And I said, "Just give me time. Just give me 2 weeks. I'll pay you." She now said, "Okay." Then there's this money she has. She kept it for something, or she kept it for a project or something. I said, "Give me." So she transferred the money to me. I went back to the man. Like after 3-4 hours, I went back to the man. You know, that time we didn't have transfer. We didn't have this bank app where you can transfer to somebody, go to the bank, use ATM to withdraw the money and bring.
Yeah.
So she sent it. She went to the bank, sent it to the bank. I went to the bank, used my ATM. Was it ATM? Therefore, I entered the bank, filled the teller, and collected the cash. So I brought it to the man, and I told him that the 40,000 is ready. And he was like, "Wow. You see, this is what I'm talking about. When young people begin to think of how to build their life instead of wasting their life and womanizing and all." The man is a pastor, and he was so excited. He was so excited for me. We gave him the 40,000, and my wife went back to Buhari. I went back to the studio. Then I was sleeping in the studio, on the floor in the studio, because with some of our things, we just kept them at various different places and all. Yes. So I went back to the studio. I started trying to gather money. You know, I work, keep the money, and then Chris Morgan just called me out of the blues and said, "Man of God, how are you?" I said, "I'm fine." He said, "I want you to do some songs for me." And I'm like, "Okay, sir. When?" He said, "No, are you around? I'm coming." So he came with Owi Abutu, the guy that sang, "God
My
is
heart,
indescribable from the pages of my heart." Beautiful. So they came, and he said he wanted me to do some songs for him. I charged him. He paid me. He gave me, I think, about 35,000. Then I gathered with the small one I've gathered. I think I had about 50,000 or so. So I went back to the man, and that's the man who sold the land to me. I told him, "Okay, I have 50,000. Please, can I be paying small?" But he said, "No problem." So when I brought the 50,000, he said, "You know what? Instead of giving me this 50,000, why not go and buy blocks and at least even start doing something on the land?"
Whoa.
At least start doing something. Since you have 50,000, start doing something. I know you will pay me, but at least start something. Let me even see that you have started something.
Wow.
That was how I carried the 50,000, bought sand, bought cement, came. I asked, "What is the fastest way to mold blocks? Or is it to buy or to mold?" They say, "Mold is better, it's cheaper." I molded the first blocks, and it rained. And the rain washed everything.
The old 50,000 don't go.
50,000 went. I cried that day. In fact, when I saw that it wanted to start raining, I left the studio and came to come and meet the people that were molding. Before I got to the place they were molding the block, the rain had already washed everything away. And I stood in that rain and I cried. I wept like a baby. And I said, "Okay, that's life. It happens." I went back to the studio, started gathering small again. And you know, I gathered, anytime I gather like 20,000, I'll just buy blocks and keep. If I have 10,000, I'll buy blocks and keep. That's how I kept buying. Then Chris Morgan now introduced somebody to me who wanted to do an album. The person heard the songs I did for Chris Morgan and I was like, "Who is this producer? I like this guy." And Guy came all the way from Makurdi that year. Came all the way from Makurdi and wanted to do an album. Paid me almost 100,000 for the album. So when that 100,000 came, I had 100,000. I went to the landlord. I said, sir, please just help me take this 100,000. Let it be that I've paid something for the land. It will give me peace more. That at least I'm paying for the land. The man said, okay, no problem. He collected the 100,000. I said, from now till your building is completed, don't bring any money to me. He told me that day, he said, look, I'm collecting this money because of how you are pressuring me to collect it. I don't need it actually. Wow. But I'll collect this. But from now, until your building is completed, don't bring money to me. Any money you have, go and put. And then I'd already bought some blocks. I bought over 300 or 400 blocks. So that was how we started building. Small. We started building one step at a time. If the day I have 5,000, I will go, we'll walk. The day I have 10,000, I will go. I wasn't waiting to gather plenty money. So if I have 10,000, we'll go to the site, we'll walk, I'll be there with them. In fact, I was the laborer. You know, in the building site, they have labor.
You have to pay laborer to do the work.
The person that will mix the cement and do the work. Yeah. Then they have the person that will lay the. So I couldn't afford a laborer. Sure. So what I do is, I just go to the site, I'll be the one to mix for him.
And that's, you are cutting the cost.
Cutting the cost. So that was how we did. Within some few months, like 3 months, 4 months, we had already built it to lintel. I was now looking for money to do lintel and all that, which God provided. I did the lintel. Then when it was time to roof, because that's one of the most difficult parts of building. Yeah. That one you can't do it small. You have to do everything together. I went with my wife. Then she was heavy. So we went to there's this man who sells zinc and this thing close to my studio. No, close to the house. So we went to him with my wife. I told him, I said, sir, I want to roof my house. I don't have money. But can I be paying you? What's the cost for so amount of bundle of zinc and wood? He gave me the total cost and I asked him, can I be paying small? He said, no problem. So I started paying him. I paid him, I think, about 60%. Then one day, the day I went to give him to complete his 60%, he now said, I see how you are struggling. Why not just come and pack the thing, go and walk? You are a trustworthy person. He didn't know me from Madam. I don't know him, he didn't know me. It's not that anytime I have money, if I have 5,000, I'll come and give him. If I have 10,000, I'll come and give him. So he just said, why not carry the material, go roof your house? Anytime you have, just as you are paying me small, just come and be paying me. Instead of you are paying me and the materials are here, you are paid 60%. That was how I called the carpenter. The carpenter came from Kaduna. We roofed the house. I moved into the house uncompleted, no door, no window, no floor. The floor was still sand. That was how I moved into the house with so much joy. Yeah. Then when it was time for my wife to deliver, one day my father-in-law called me and said, how are you? I said, fine. He said, how far your building? I said, well, I've been able to put doors, but no windows. I put the front and the back door. Then I used the curtains I had from the other house. I just used it to nail the windows so that at least it's covered. And he said, okay, let me do what's it called? This is it PVC now? PVC of the one of the rooms, so that if your wife delivers, at least she can come back home. That's how he gave me money for the ceiling. That money did almost half of the ceiling of the house. And by the time my wife delivered, the day we're doing naming, a day after the naming, we moved back and we lived in the uncompleted building. We started doing it gradually as God gives us money. We'll just be completing it gradually like that.
Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful story, isn't it? And it is a story on a journey of faith. And can you see why I said you need to explain the procedure? Because one of the challenges we've had, particularly in Africa, is that we've used faith and relationship with God. However, we often miss some things in between. We use faith, but we miss the process. And for you as a person, you had a skill. And without a skill, God could have provided the money, but you are going to suffer well with your wife that is pregnant. Because then you are waiting for people to give you the money. But because you have something in your hand, and every time, God will always ask, what is in your hand?
True, sir. Wow.
What is in
Wow.
your hand?
Wow. Wow.
Of Moses, he
Wow.
asked, what is in your hand? It was a rod. Of the woman that came, 2 Kings chapter 4, whose two sons has been, he said, what do you have in the house? A small cruse of oil. You always have something.
There must be
But
something.
you, like we said earlier, you have told yourself the story, I have nothing. Even as you are talking, as you are on this call tonight, you have something. You have your mobile phone, which you are using to watch us, to see us. That mobile phone can do something to help you to make money, can do something to help you to fulfill your purpose. My phone that I'm using to look at you, there was a time in which I was cash strapped. I was thinking, what do I have? And I felt this phone that I paid huge amount, in Nigeria, in UK, it's not like in Nigeria where you buy the phone in contract. You will pay monthly. You have everything, is data and everything. So I said, I have this phone. So what can this phone do for me? What can I do with this phone? How can this phone produce money? What can it do? And that's why we begin to think. And I think, like I told you earlier, one of it is that the Insta Life is, I'm already paying for this. So the phone must begin to produce something. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you are live tonight or watching a replay and you are going to any challenge, first ask yourself, what skill do you have? What is in your hand? What can you do? What can you do? If you don't have any skill, like I was saying on Sunday at the King's Choir, if you don't have any skill, you have your two hands. You have energy. You can walk. Go around your neighborhood. Ask people, can I wash clothes for you? Can I do washerman for you? And you pay me. There's always something you can do.
Something to do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Even though you are using faith, there's always something to do, because faith without works is dead. So faith cannot stand alone. There must always be work. And the challenge with all of us, and I've been there before, in which we only depend on God for everything. We don't want to do any work, but we want to use faith. And I think it's a challenge, even in this generation of young people that we have, that they want God to just do everything. Even at the point in which you say, God, I want water. Somebody bring water to them. They say, God, I need this water to enter my mouth. I need this water to enter my mouth. God is saying, I've given you water. Use your action. Use your hand to carry. They say, no, God, I want my faith to work. You must do something. And I hope tonight, as we draw this to a close, you've been blessed, you've learned from the experience, great experience our guest tonight has shared, which have been wonderful journey and expression of faith, and how to overcome challenges, and how to think out of the box, how to ensure that at every point in time, if you run across challenges, you go to God, but God will not do something, will not go against his word. He has already said faith without works is dead. So as you are using your faith to say God will provide, the next thing is, what do you have in your hand? Like somebody said, or T.D. Jakes said, God is a wonderful God. He has already given you a tree. And because you are a creator like God, he will not tell you what to do. Say, I've already given you a tree. You can take the tree, you can make a chair, you can take the tree, you can make a table, you can make the tree, you can make a table tennis bat, you can take the tree, you can make a kitchen side tea kabu, you can take the tree, you can create bed, you can take the tree, you can create rack for a window, you can take the same tree. God has created you as a creative. So use the brain that is in between your ears and begin to create. Let me tell you, between now and December, your financial life and any area of your life can transform wonderfully if only you do something. What is in your hand? Thank you so much, thank you so much, Sonny P. It's been a wonderful night. I think it's worth the wait. And the wait since November that we couldn't meet till now. I think it was God was cooking it to ensure that we have this wonderful time. And I believe strongly, tonight, if you are on this call, you are not yet, you are not here tonight by accident. God wanted you to listen to this so that it can take you to your next level. Don't forget, we exist on the Mentor Show to pivot you, to take you to the next level, that you no more become who you were before. That by the end of 2022, your life would have advanced and moved forward. Thank you so much, sir, for helping us tonight, for blessing us with your experience, for being vulnerable, sharing your secret. We are very grateful. Let me just clear some comments. Aliyah says thank you. Cindy says thank you so much. Uncle Sonny P. Faithful Jesus says God can only bless the work of our hands. Diosonic says you can even build a house from the tree. Yes, you can build a house from the tree if you want. Tremendously blessed. Real J.O. Matt. Faith says, thank you so much, sir, for tonight. So insightful. I am blessed. Chai, there is always something you can do. What value can I create to attract the money you want? Find people problem and provide solution for them. That's how money comes. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I am truly blessed in the blessings. So I think on that note, we want to say thank you so much, everyone who has been with us tonight. We'll see you again on Tuesday. I have a wonderful guest coming. You don't want to miss Tuesday. You don't want to miss a wonderful mother who is coming to share her wealth of experience in the corporate world. She's just been there in the corporate world. She's been board director and all. She'll be blessing us on Tuesday. So thank you, everybody. I'll see you on Tuesday. Thank you, Sonny P. Bye. Everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye.